All right, I think we're started. Hey guys, it's Robin Robbins coming to you live here from Nash Vegas. Hopefully, I'm coming across loud and clear. We are having a little bit of an internet issue going on right now. I'm on my backup of my backup with my $12 camera and my laptop set up here. So if it's not good, well, then, Jim, you're just going to have to run solo and entertain the troops here.
Fair enough.
Or we've got Jeff Johnson in the background. So very cool. All right. So, yeah, in case you're like wondering what the heck did I register for, we are going to be talking about one of these newer cybersecurity tools. Jim, you might want to correct me. It's kind of come on the landscape more recently, I would say,
3 years.
Okay, so yeah, like CDR
Yeah.
technology, or
Yep.
and so it's newer, and I know that makes everybody's blood curdle for most part. I don't know. There's some geeks out there that you love every new thing that comes down the pike, and some of you go, "Oh shit, another cybersecurity tool." But we're going to be talking about CDR. We're going to be talking about why this tool is one of the most important cybersecurity tools you can put in your arsenal, and like legit, not just, okay, here's a vendor trying to sell you stuff. Although, I'll leave it up to you guys. Post your comments, post your questions. Let's roll. I'm going to put Jim to the test here. Because I'm looking at the webinar topic, and it's why even the most robust MSP security stack is worthless without this one critical tool. And 92% of MSPs are missing this, and your clients will get hacked. It's the most likely way they're going to get hacked, and this tool will prevent that. So, Jim, like I said, I'm definitely going to challenge you on that claim and those statements. So I hope you're ready for it. Okay.
All good, Robin. All good.
All right. So before we get into that, so guys, folks, I'm here with Jim Lippy. Obviously, he's the CEO of SaaS Alerts. And SaaS Alerts is a CDR, cloud detection response technology for MSPs. And so, Jim, I guess, like, first off, talk a little bit, like, how did you start this company? Why did you start the company? What is CDR? I mean, tell us a little bit of the backstory.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, great to be with you. Always fun to do webinars with you. Fun fact I want to start out with. Okay. So we launched SaaS Alerts in January of 21. And we literally had 10 beta MSPs on the platform at the time, Robin. And the very first in-person event that we were able to do was your boot camp in Nashville in, I think, April of 21. And that really launched SaaS Alerts. We were moving along and evangelizing and telling people what we did, but it really took hold initially at that show. And you were one of the very first to actually come back and do in-person events. So thank you for all the way back then for having the courage to come out and do it in-person event. So fun fact, Robin
Yeah, that
was the first one first show we ever did. So
yeah, so actually in January, I think what it was in January though was our producers club meeting, wasn't it? Because
we launched in January, but
we had the Iron Cowboy.
Yeah, no, we didn't launch. We launched in January, like we went GA, but we didn't do an in-person event. So year one in April. So
okay, gotcha. Okay, all right.
So why did we build SaaS Alerts to begin with? So I remember very distinctly, it was the summer of 2019. I'm driving. I get a phone call from two guys I used to work with, two friends of mine, Chip Buck and Seth Bostock. And they say, "Hey, Jim, we have an idea that we want to run by you." And they were acting as CTOs at two small businesses. And I worked with these guys in the past at Independence IT. We had exited that business. It was great. Really good friends of mine. I enjoyed working with them. Smart. And they said, we're encountering the same exact problem at the same time. We both have, that one guy had a 15-person business, another one had a 20-person business, and they were going through a SOC 2 audit. And they went to the auditors, and they needed to be SOC 2 certified for the businesses. And they said, okay, this is what we have. And the auditor said, look, I need to see servers, I need to see routers, I need to see, infrastructure. And they're like, we don't have any. We run on pure SaaS. We're on Google Workspace or 365. We're on Jira. We're on Salesforce. That's it. That's what we work with off of laptops. And it's BYOD at that. So the auditor said, look, I don't care. Like, I need to see something. That's not going to do it. So they started looking around for tools that could monitor user behavior in SaaS applications so they could get their SOC 2 audit. And they couldn't find anything. And they looked around and finally they reached out to Arctic Wolf, who is a big SOC as a service player, mainly for big enterprise organizations. And Arctic Wolf had what they called SaaS connectors. And they said, we'll sell you the SaaS connectors and it'll be $30,000 for the year. And they're like, what? We only need like 5% of your offering, and we're only 15 people. So you're telling me it's 30 grand? They're like, yep, take it or leave it. So they're like, this is insane. But they had to do it because there's nothing else out there. So they called me up and said, we think that we can build something that is going to monitor the user behavior in SaaS applications, but do it at a much cheaper price point. So I said, I think it's a great idea. I'm having conversations with MSPs all the time. They're having the same exact issues. And I said, what's your go-to-market strategy going to be? And they're like, we're thinking enterprise. I'm like, that's where you lost me. I'm like, you should build it for the MSP based on the conversations I'm having, because it's not just around compliance, it's how do you actually see the user behavior in these applications today? Everyone's going to SaaS. No one's building on-prem software anymore. So if that's the case, and there's no more servers where you've got industry-specific applications on those servers to be able to manage them, how are you going to add value on a go-forward basis? So we built SaaS alerts to protect and monetize the applications that small businesses run on behalf of the MSP.
Okay. All right. So tell me like a little bit more about the technology. This is where you're gonna have to geek out because there's MSPs watching and they're gonna probably have questions for that. And guys, if you do have questions, I'll monitor it. I don't see any questions right now, but please post those questions. But so get a little bit more into the details of what CDR technology is, because there's so many. I mean, MDR, EDR, XDR, there's all these things, but what is CDR technology, like, and how does it work?
Yeah. So first of all, Robin, I used to be an MSP. So I understand that all of you are getting, bombarded, 10 times a day with people trying to sell you new stuff. So I get that, the new shiny tool. CDR, cloud detection and response, is a category, right? When we started, this category didn't even exist. It just happens to be the best category that fits the description of what we do. Now, you mentioned MDR, EDR, SOC as a service, XDR. Good security is all about layering. And those technologies have a place, but they mostly focus on yesterday's attack surface, which is the device. We focus on the user and the applications. So 85% of all attacks today are focused on the user and the application, not the device. MDR focuses mainly on device and network. Same thing with EDR, XDR, SOC as a service. They've been around for a while. That's the legacy that they come from. Cloud detection and response focuses on the user, focuses on the application, and then we have automated response that goes along with it. So
But so if I have Microsoft 365, like I'm using
Yeah.
M365, right? Or your Google Workspace, like which is the number, like, so, and I buy the software. How does it, am I logging in through your technology to then log into micro, like, how's it, give
No.
me a little bit more of the
Yeah.
tech of how it
Yeah.
works.
So all those other texts that you mentioned, by the way, MDR, EDR, XDR, they all require an agent, right, that reports back because on the device. SaaS Alerts works through API. So we read essentially the information coming from the application, and we can tell who's logging in, where they're logging in from, what are they looking at, what are they taking. So I have this conversation, Robin, with MSPs all the time. And I ask them, what are the applications, what's the most important application that your users touch every single day, they log into every single day, and touch most of the other applications in the environment? The answer always comes back. It's either going to be 360. In most cases, it's 365. In a minority of cases, it is Google Workspace. But those are the two productivity apps in the universe. So that's the answer. Those are the applications that we use. Okay. If that's the case, what are you doing to secure those applications? If they are the most important thing to all your customers, what are you doing to secure them? And I give this analogy all the time. So if I'm in a car accident, and Robin, you're my doctor, I come in, I'm pretty banged up. Did you ever practice medicine, Robin?
Me?
Yeah. No.
Only on TV.
Okay. So I'm your patient. Okay. I come in and I've got a laceration above my eye. I've got a shattered ankle and I've got a compromised artery around my heart that's about to burst. You, as my doctor, wanting to save my life, you're going to start with making sure that you're dealing with that artery because that could kill me. You can stitch up the laceration later, you can set my ankle later. Those are injuries that need to be addressed. But what could kill me right now is that artery issue, right? That's the same way I think about cloud detection and response in today's world. When you have 85% of attacks focus on the user and focus on the application, that's where you need to start. All those other technologies, MDR, EDR, XDR, SOC, yes, they have a place. But if we're going to prioritize the attack surfaces today, you need to start with cloud detection and response based on what your customers are using all day, every day.
Okay. Now, is that the only technology it covers though?
So, great question.
Like I'm like my M365. I mean, there's other whole lot of cloud apps, right?
Yes, exactly. So, SaaS Alerts is the only one out there that actually does an array of applications. So I'm glad you brought this up. We've got obviously 365, Google Workspace, Salesforce, Dropbox, Slack, Okta, Duo, AWS CloudTrail. We're about to come out with Ignite, the file server or the file share application. Sentinel-1 is about to come out. So, and we also protect MSP tools. So, for instance, everyone's got an RMM. We monitor most of the major RMMs out there today. So, Kaseya VSA, Data RMM, ConnectWise Automate, Synchro, Ninja. We monitor all of them to help protect the MSP, but also we unify what's going on from the device and we're correlating it with the SaaS data that we're getting inherently in our platform. And we're giving the MSP more visibility into what's going on. So we've got a lot of applications, way more than anybody else is doing this in the MSP space specifically. And our focus again, is to help MSPs protect those applications, add value to their customer relationship, therefore monetize it.
Okay, so let me, in my very non-technical way, try to understand what I don't, so one thing I'm still fuzzy on, if I'm an MSP and I have to deploy this and it's not an agent, I don't know how that works. So you might have to unpack that, like
Yeah.
how would it know? But so essentially what it's saying is, okay, I'll take myself for an example. I've got this laptop I'm on right now. I've got the
Yep.
desktop that I work off of. I've got a Florida house that I also have a setup down there, right?
Yep.
Actually, and I have four because I got another laptop in my gym, but I use that mostly just to stream stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
so if and I do believe we actually, my MSP Vector Choice uses SaaS Alert. So
You do.
for example, if all of a sudden there was a Office 365 login to get into my email or something like that, and it was coming from China, or it was coming from somewhere else, right?
Yes.
And your technology would say, hang on a second, I know these are four known devices and locations that Robin is. All of a sudden she's logged in here at Franklin on a webinar, and now somewhere over here in another country, another place, she's getting logged in, something's going on. So your technology then automatically shuts down the login, or what does it do?
Yeah. Robin, you're getting it. 100%. That's exact. So I know Vector is your MSP. They use SaaS alerts. I believe they're also using Datto RMM, if I'm not mistaken. So what they're doing is they're seeing where's Robin logging in from, because they've got a Datto RMM agent on there. And they also are seeing you log into your 365 or using 365 credentials to log into your account. So they do that correlation. If all of a sudden Robin is logging in from China or Indonesia or Afghanistan, you name the country that's unusual, there's an automatic respond rule that they have set up that will lock your account. Because we now know if Robin's logging in from an unapproved location on a device that we don't recognize, 99.999% sure that's a compromise. And that needs to be locked down. And then they're going to call you and be like, hey, Robin, by chance, are you in China? And you're going to say no. They're like, okay, good. Glad we locked you down. We got to reset your password and get you back up.
Okay, so how is that different than, we look at MDR, EDR, XDR? Like I know it's the device, but so how is that or SOC, like a SOC or a SIM, right?
Yeah.
Or zero trust. I mean, there's all these different kind of, can you go down the list and say, here's where this CDR fits and is different than those?
Yes. So again, the legacy of those products happen to be in the device realm. So there are some MDRs out there that will do a little bit around 365. They don't go very deep into 365. EDR doesn't go into 365 at all because it's endpoint detection and response. SOC, that requires a human. So someone to essentially do the threat hunting, see these different things going on at various times, and then determine whether or not that is an issue that requires remediation. Ours is automatic, right? It doesn't have to wait for someone to see it and then someone to decipher what's going on and act on it. Ours is automatic, where there's a respond rule. The technology sees Robin in unapproved location on a device we don't recognize, lock account. So in a situation in security where every second matters, the automatic piece, so the detection, so we're detecting, but then the response, that's the automatic piece, is so critical.
Okay, so you're saying, so basically if we're going like, so again, it detects this login. If Vector Choice was using a SOC, they would say, hang on, they would see it, they would see what's going on, but they would not lock it down automatically. What would they do? Notify the MSP and then the MSP locks it down? Is that how that,
Yes.
or
So if they're
do any
using,
of these do the, Don't, so you're saying none of these do the automated lock it down?
Yeah, so first of all, we actually license our technology to a number of SOC as a service companies, a lot of really reputable good ones.
Okay,
And they're using SaaS alerts within their SOC to automatically respond and then enhance their own service in their response to customers through our technology. But yes, in most cases, for someone that's using a SOC that's not using the back end SOC, isn't using our technology, what's going to happen is that a threat detector is going to see something going on. They pick up the phone and will call the MSP, Vector in your case, and be like, hey, look, we were seeing something strange on Robin's account. You might want to take a look at it. Now, hopefully at that point, the MSP picks up, right? And in a timely manner and looks into it and takes care of it. But again, in a situation where every minute counts, it's really important that this happens immediately or as fast as possible.
okay. And just so you know, guys, there are questions coming in. We're gonna get to those. So I'm not ignoring you. Let me get through
Yep.
some of this stuff and then we're gonna get to questions there. They're coming in on the chat. So just if you're looking, Jim, I think that, if you guys could, here's a question because this one is in the Q&A. What about Facebook, Twitter, like social media accounts? Does it do that for those yet?
No,
No?
no.
Okay. All right.
We're really focused on business applications.
Okay, all right. And okay, so we're gonna get to some other questions. So when, let's say this makes sense, does this now replace, like if I have an EDR, XDR, MDR, EIO, whatever, you guys and your acronyms, if I have those does this replace this or does this enhance those tech?
So it definitely does not replace EDR because that, again, is endpoint detection and response.
Okay,
Depending on what we're using for a combination, if you're using MDR and an EDR, it could potentially replace it. It all depends on what you're using and how you're using it. I get a lot of MSPs telling me, hey, Jim, you know what? Like we use an MDR and, we've got, 50 customers. And my follow-up question to that is great. I'm glad you're using an MDR. What percentage of your customers are using MDR? Are you able to sell MDR too? And the answer always comes back, Robin, somewhere between 15 and 25%. I'm like,
have
okay,
MDR.
yes, have MDR. I'm like, okay, fantastic.
Is that more expensive than, is MDR
Yes.
like,
And
okay,
that's where I'm going with this. Then I say, great, why? Can you only get 25% penetration of MDR in your base? Like people won't buy it. It's too expensive. Okay, great. So if that's the case, what are you doing for the other 75%? And that's where I go back to the priority, right? Everyone's using SaaS applications. Threat hunter or bad actors are going after all of the users in the SaaS accounts. If you're going to do nothing else, you have to start with cloud detection and response because that's where the users are. That's where all the activity is right now.
so you're saying like if you, the most basic of security, like if you've got a budget conscious prospect or client, let's say, at least put the SaaS alerts on, and then if budget will allow, or if it's required, I don't know if there's regulatory compliance or some other reason why, then you would layer on the EDR on top of that, or SOC or SIM. And
Right.
so price compared, like what is it? Do you mind talking a little bit about what it costs and what people mark it up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we only sell through MSPs. That's really important. We will not sell direct to your customer. Right now, it all depends. There's two things that affect price: volume, number of users that you commit to, and then the term of the agreement, either 1 year or 3 year term. So
Okay.
we've got some very, very large partners with us that are, at 60 cents a user. And then we've got smaller partners that, are going to pay, they just want to pay for a year and they're $1.50 a user.
Okay,
The really important piece to understand is that the average MSP today is reselling it to their customer at $3 a user,
so basically double it.
double it.
Okay,
So
so, all right, so
yeah,
like, like, what is the average EDR, MDR, XDR that they have? What is that typically? What's the, do you have it, do you know an average on that?
I mean, they've gotten
Or
less
a
expensive.
range?
Yeah, there's a range. I would say on MDR that could be MSPs paying, $2 to $3 a user, all the way up to $8 to $10 a user.
Okay. All right, so let me get to some of these questions because I want to talk about deploying it and like how do you sell this to your clients and go back because we got to talk about that. So let me dig into some of these questions here. Hopefully you've had maybe a chance to look at this, but what about websites and web applications, or is it just like does it protect those?
Not websites. We're definitely focused on SaaS applications, right? So the ones I mentioned before, we're going to be adding more and more to the library over time. But what's really important to understand is that we can only monitor SaaS applications that have a viable API. And what that means is that their API has security logs that will tell us who's logging in, where they're logging in from, what they're looking at, what are they taking. And every one of the applications I mentioned, and those on our website now that we cover, all of those obviously meet that criteria. I'll give you an example. One of the applications that we wanted to come out with first was QuickBooks Online. But as of right now, they don't have a viable API.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So I guess guys, go to this website. We'll put it there in the chat, and you have all the applications. What you have and what you don't have there.
Yep.
So Trevor says, does your platform provide compliance auditing capabilities like logging user activities across SaaS applications? If so, how do you ensure the audit logs are tamper proof?
Yes. So the short answer to this question is yes, we do. In fact, one of the big selling points is that we actually keep the logs for 365 days, full year. I always say we put the 365 in Microsoft 365. And most of your MSPs know that depending on what license type they have, a user has, there could be 7-day retention up to 90-day retention, and that's it. So when you're actually doing forensics on a security issue, the ability to go back 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year, that's a really big deal, Robin. That's additional value that we provide. So yes, we have the logs, and you can audit those, and we enrich them so they're all there, and you can analyze every aspect of them.
Okay, and Trevor, also good question. How does your platform ensure the security of APIs, especially like when you're talking about sensitive SaaS applications like Microsoft 365 and email? Are there specific encryption protocols or measures in place to prevent unauthorized access?
Yeah, so first of all, we're reading, in this case, there's two APIs, the Graph API and the Azure API for 365, right? Those are their APIs. So we're not doing anything to their APIs with the exception of reading them. And you need the admin credentials when you essentially set up a customer on the platform. You're gonna need the admin credentials. You put that in, and then within minutes, we start getting essentially it's like a fire hose, right, of data into the SaaSource platform that we then essentially interpret and then put into simple alert language for the MSP to consume.
Okay. All right. So I guess, yeah, the encryption part, protocols and security, that's all in there. And I guess if they want more details on any of this, guys, they could get a demo, I guess, and you can kind of dig into this a little bit more, but yeah. So, So another, Daniel said that he may have missed this. I don't think you touched on this. What would make this better? Why is this better, in other words, than like 2FA blocking, like, so instead of having 2FA, how is this better?
Yeah. So first of all, 2FA should be employed at every single one of your customers. Unfortunately, most of the time it's not. Only 35% of small businesses actually fully deploy 2FA, which is a major problem. But 2FA is just one layer, and it's been proven time and time and time again at this point that threat actors actually get past 2FA, right? We're not saying you shouldn't do it. You should absolutely do it. It's like driving a car. Just because you have a seatbelt on doesn't mean you're going to disable your airbags, right? You want the airbags to work too. The reality, Robin, is that today there's something called token hijacking. In token hijacking, you should look it up. We're not going to get into it in depth on this webinar, but easily look it up. And we have on our site, we have webinars you can go to that we've done in person where we hack people essentially through token hijacking. Token hijacking bypasses 2FA and it bypasses conditional access policies. So there's a lot of MSPs out there that think by having 2FA fully implemented across all their customers, and they've got robust conditional access policies, they think that they're completely locked down and they're safe. Unfortunately, the reality is they're not. So that is the answer, because again, we talked about layers. This is an essential layer at this point to pick up essentially what 2FA isn't going to pick up and conditional access policies don't prevent.
Okay. Now, can you force 2FA? Can an MSP force 2FA on like Microsoft 365 or any of these? Can they force that?
So we actually have a feature set that we call Fortify that will go into the tenant and force MFA. And you can run a report in SaaS Alerts that shows the MFA report that shows all the people that have it and the folks that have disabled it, and you can force the people that disabled it back into compliance.
Okay. All right. So another question, George wants would SaaS Alerts detect anomalies in O365? An example would be a user who seldom sends more than 10 emails an hour, and now the blue, there's 700 emails going out in 5 minutes.
Yes, you can set thresholds for that. One story I'd love to share, Robin, if I can,
Sure.
is in terms of unusual behavior. So there's something called DLP, data loss prevention, and that's a big part of the platform. You get DLP when you buy SaaS Alerts. Last year, one of our partners in the Midwest was doing a security audit for a 300-person manufacturing company. And they do quasi-government stuff. And our partner goes in and they launch SaaS Alerts. Within 24 hours, start seeing some really unusual behavior from one specific user. What this user was doing was sending files via SharePoint and OneDrive to 2 specific IP addresses in China. Once the information was downloaded in China, they were deleting the file share immediately. So thinking they're destroying the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Arctic Wolf was actually in that customer for a while, never picked it up. SaaS Alerts picked up immediately, and turns out we ended up catching a Chinese spy ring in that specific incident, and it was turned over to the authorities. It was actually written about in MSSP alert. But the bigger point here is that yes, we're going to catch all of those anomalies that are happening inside an environment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. All right. So Peter's got a question here. So is this akin to identity and access management at the device level? Meaning I have like 5 devices because I'm ridiculous. And can only, am I the only one, by the way?
You're not the only one,
I,
but that is a lot.
okay, okay, I'm very needy. I need to be connected. Okay. And I haven't even mentioned my phone. Okay, so meaning Robin has 5 devices and can only log into the network from those. Is it identity and access management from device level?
So identity and access management, so IAM alerts are definitely a big part of what we do, right? So we see all the IAM stuff, but that's just a component of what we do. Now, this individual might have Okta or Duo or another IAM product. CyberFox has a good one. Like, there's folks out there that have IAM products. This is not a replacement for IAM by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay. All right. So, and Alan is saying, so with the risk of token hijacking, should they continue to implement 2FA?
Definitely, 100%.
Okay.
Again, this is seatbelt. It's
Airbags,
airbag. It's
crumple zones. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. So now a question I have is, so when you deploy this, how difficult is it? Like you have X number of customers, like how difficult is it to deploy? Can you kind of give a time frame or manpower, or what does it look like?
Yeah. So it takes about 90 seconds. If you come on SaaS Alerts and you're a partner, it'll take about 90 seconds to set up a specific customer, right? They're on 365, maybe they have Slack, Salesforce. It'll take you another 90 seconds to set up those applications, right? Now they're on the platform. Now you're going to start seeing data come in. So we spent maybe, all 3 minutes setting them up. The data is rolling in. Now you're going to tweak it. And it's going to take, probably another hour or so of pure manpower over the course of the next 2 weeks to essentially tweak your base of customers in terms of setting up the respond rules and the fortify actions and so forth. We do full onboarding. Once you get the hang of it, it doesn't take very long at all.
Okay. And is that global? Because this is coming from Chris, global per account, or can you pick and choose what users that you want within an account?
Good question. It is global per account. So you can't pick and choose what users inside a company, right?
Okay.
Because just that's not the way Microsoft or any of these SaaS products work. And by the way, just from a pure security hygiene perspective, you should be focused on protecting everyone in a tenant, because all it takes is one. One that's unprotected essentially is a security hole that needs to be plugged.
Okay. All right. Okay. And then let's get to one of my hot topics is how do you sell this to clients? Because, you're an MSP. You've already gone to your client. You said, hey, we got you on our latest, greatest, coolest security stack. And, and now I got to come back and, hit you up for another $2, $3, $4, whatever, per user. So, but I hear you have some kind of magic email or something. So anyway, can you, you've got some kind of voodoo magic there that I need to know about.
Okay.
So do you have, how do your partners go back once they say, yeah, let's do this? How do they go back and sell it to their customers?
Right. So 3 words: coverage, extension, notification. So this is that magic email. That's a template that we put together. And as an MSP, you send it out to your customers, right? We now know we've got 1,200 MSPs total on the platform, and we monitor over 3.5 million accounts on behalf of those 1,200 MSPs. 90 of them we know have sent out this coverage extension notification, which basically says the threat environment's changed. SaaS applications are now the biggest threat vector, and specifically 365, Google Workspace. We're going to do everything we tend to protect you. In order to do that, we need this enhanced level of service. By the way, Microsoft has changed their terms of use, and this is a kicker. Most people don't know this, Robin. About a year and a half ago or so, Microsoft came out and said, and it's only like one or two sentences in a paragraph in their terms of conditions. So it's very, very easy to miss. They've always taken the stance, look, we, Microsoft, cannot be held liable if anyone gains unlawful access to the tenant. They've now gone on to say, however, we can hold you, the customer or third party, liable if anyone gains unlawful access to the tenant. So we point this out in this email. So now the onus is shifted to the customer and their MSP to make sure they're doing everything they can to make sure they're mitigating the risk around anyone gaining unlawful access to that tenant. So when people understand that essentially Microsoft, if they wanted to, could sue them if someone gained unlawful access, they stand up and take notice. And that's why this email is 96% effective. Only 4% of the companies that get this email from our MSPs opt out. And we've gone on at this point because we know how effective it is. We give an MRR guarantee. I've watched you speak several times, Robin. I know we got this, from you. And, a guarantee is really important to people. It sells. So the guarantee is if you sign up with SaaS Alerts and you send this out to your customer base, and let's just say for the sake of easy numbers, Robin, you've got 1,000 users. We're going to cut that in half. We're going to say worst case scenario, only 50% of your people opt in. So we're going to take $3 times 500 users, 50% of that 1,000, that's $1,500. If we don't get you $1,500 of incremental monthly recurring revenue in 60 days from the time you send out this email, we're going to give you 3 months of your payments back. So basically, your SaaS Alerts free for 3 months.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Well, there you hear it. So, all right. Now, I don't see any other questions, guys. I just want to make sure that we're covering it. We're getting close to the time we've got to wrap up here. So if you have any additional questions, please post those. While I'm just waiting to see if there's any other questions that come in, Jim, is there anything else you want to talk about that we haven't covered regarding this? I mean, this whole conversation.
Yeah. So I think it's easy to get caught up in like categories and acronyms that you mentioned before, right? It's really just important to understand what the problem is first and foremost. Like you need to understand what's going on with the user and the applications, because that's where all the action is right now, right? And if there's 3 things I want you to leave with today, understand this. Understand that SaaS Alerts is a platform, 1. 2, it's proven revenue based on our MRR guarantee. And 3, it's automatic, right? Like we do automated response. The platform piece, once you see the demo, Robin, and you can go through the trial, you'll see all the different pieces that we do, configuration management, monitoring drift, user behavior monitoring, reporting, looking at the MSP tools, and then obviously the respond rules. You'll go through all of that, but that's complete. That's a platform. We've elevated just past being a tool, and we're now a cloud detection and response platform. I think it's really important for people to know that. Okay.
Cool. And then, okay, so a couple other questions that came in. So guys, again, post your questions. In a minute, I'm going to ask you, Jim, about like how they can go get that free demo and maybe get a look at that email or something. But do you have, Trevor saying, do you have any SaaS Alerts have any publicly available security white papers or technical documentation that outlines the specific security measures, including API security, encryption standards, data protection protocols used by your platform? So do you have anything that will verify your security of your platform.
Yes, we are, not only are we SOC 2 Type 2 certified, Robin, we actually went above that. We're now ISO 27001 certified
Mhm.
and
Okay.
ASVS certified as well. So
Okay.
once people become partners with us, we share that information when they ask.
Okay. Okay, another question on, I think I'm going back to price. Chris wants to know, is the license that you gave, like you said, it's anywhere 60 cents to $1.50, depending on a number of
Right.
factors, but is that per platform? Or is that per every application? So I gotta pay $1 for MS 365 and $1 for Salesforce and $1, like, or is that just per, that follows that one user?
I love this question, Robin, because
Mhm.
I love giving the answer. It's just based on the user. It doesn't matter. So if Robin Vector decides that, let's just say, for example, you've got 365, you've got Slack in your environment, you've got Salesforce, and you've got Duo. Okay. They're just paying essentially one price for you for all those applications. Right.
Mhm.
So that's where I believe there's incremental opportunity for the MSP above and beyond just the $3 or $4, because if the MSP wants, they can charge incremental for the additional applications there on your behalf.
Mhm. Okay. All right, so that's just the one price. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Andre, what's this, it says, what are the security mature organizations, XDR, EDR, SIM, using to protect SaaS applications? So he's wondering, like, there are all these other technologies. What are they doing to protect SaaS applications?
Yeah. So look, when we started, again, in January of 21, when we had 10 beta MSPs on the platform, and we weren't charging anything for it, this category CDR didn't exist. There was a category called CASB, that stands for Cloud Access Security Broker. That was really just in the enterprise. So what really mature companies are looking at the enterprise level, a lot of them are in CASB, and others are starting to see other tools out there, like, or platforms that we have. But I can tell you that we started out really being successful with some large, sophisticated MSPs and MSSPs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm proud to say that we've got a lot of really mature security organizations using our platform. And I think as time has gone by, we've gotten a lot of adoption from every corner of the MSP universe.
Okay, so, but again, like, if I were to say the difference, is it, again, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right. The big difference is that EDR, MDR, even XDR, it's following the device, not necessarily the user. And there is also the cloud login activity that's not necessarily being detected by those technologies. So that would be a second one.
Yeah.
And then maybe a third one would be the automatic nature of what you do. So as soon, like with SaaS alerts, it just shuts you down, forces a password reset, versus the others detect it. Even a SOC will detect it, but will contact the MSP, and say, hey, you need to do something about this. Well, at that time, I mean, they could have, it's too
Exactly.
late. Yeah,
So
it's too
it's a
late.
daisy chain, right? The
Right.
SOC calls the MSP, and the MSP has to then call the customer. Are you really there or not there? Um, Time. It's an
Yeah,
issue,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay. So that, I think that's what he's asking. I might have been wrong, but I think that's kind of, I don't know, Andre, if I got that wrong, forgive me. You can type it again. Different question. Wes is a VAR, and he wants to know if he loves the call, great call. He said, can he resell SaaS alerts to his clients? Because you said you only sell, to MSPs. So
Oh,
is that
absolutely.
possible?
When I
Okay.
say only through MSPs, VARs are included, MSSPs are included.
Okay.
Essentially, we sell through the channel.
It's a
Right?
reseller. It's a reseller
It's
model.
a reseller play. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
We even
All right.
have,
So,
Robin, we have some telco agents that are selling it
okay.
to larger organizations, and they do the co-management.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Okay, but well, let's get back to the demo. This last question kind of plays
Yeah.
into that. So, because the question from Alan is it a live or recorded demo? So, and by the way, Wes is saying great news. So I think you got a customer there. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so let's talk about the demo. So like, if they're interested, can they get a live demo and then try a free trial?
Yep.
Like, talk to me about how what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So we gave you guys a link that you can sign up right now for essentially it's a free trial.
We're
And
putting that, by the way, we're putting that in the chat, guys. It's saasalerts.com/free dash trial.
so when you sign up for that, someone's going to contact you and they're going to say, hey, look, thanks for signing up. We're going to walk you through the platform so you know what to do and you know what to be looking for. And then that'll give you everything you need to know, or it should, everything you know about SaaS Alerts, the platform, and then you can try it free for as long as you want. In addition to that, Rob, because you twisted my arm so
Yeah, I want to see
much.
that email. I hope you're going to give that email because I want to see that email. I'm gonna steal it, change a couple words, and say I came up with it though. Just so you know.
So
If it
we
works. If it doesn't, I'll tell you you created it.
okay.
Yeah.
I
All
know
right.
that it works. I know that it works. So we never do this. We only give this to partners that actually sign up. But we're doing this for Robin's MSPs only in this webinar. So if when you sign up, there's a promo code. This is optional. You put in TMT and we will send you the coverage extension notification. That's your moneymaker right there.
The email that you send out that gets like everybody to sign up.
Yes, the
Okay, that'd be good.
96% effectiveness email. They're going to get thanks to you, Robin, because you twisted my arm before this and said we need a good promo.
Yeah, well, and guys, you think I'm lying. I'm telling, I have not seen the email. What I did with Jim prior to prepare for this webinar, we did like I got 5 or 6 customers, and I kind of talked to them a little bit. I wanted to understand what was going on, and this is a question I asked them. I'm like, how are you going back and getting these people to buy? And one of the guys that was on is a CISO, and he's like, yeah, we sent it out to our customers, and he said all but like 4 sign, or 3 or 4, it was some small number, 3 or 4
Yeah.
said yes, only 3 4 pushed back. And he said, and then I got a one-on-one call with them, and they all said okay, fine. So they got 100% of their customers to agree to this just being added on without like doing a QBR, without doing a webinar, without doing a free report or a sales pitch. It was like an email. So and I'm being completely honest with you when I say I've not seen that email yet. So I do want to check it out. But I can tell you that I had talked to 4 or 5 MSPs that said, yeah, that email works like super cool. So just again, guys, just to reiterate, you're going to go to saasalerts.com/free dash trial. The link is there again in the chat. When you sign up, put TMT, like the marketing team, the money team, the motivation team in there, right? Put that in there, and then they'll get that email to you. It is a live demo and free trial. So you'll have somebody walk them through, answering all your questions, anything you need, showing you how to do it, then giving you the license of it. And yeah, so that's awesome. Okay, so let me see. I see some other, I was just saying the mature organizations, all these different tools. See, okay, so yeah, Andre did come back to kind of clarify his question, what he was saying earlier when he was like, well, what are these other EDR, XDR, MDR, what are they doing to secure environments? He said, I was just saying these mature organizations have all these different tools. So something has to be in place to secure SaaS apps. So, are you basically saying they don't have anything to protect SaaS apps, or are you saying, like, the way I understand it is they do, but it's just not at this level, I guess,
Yeah.
I mean, guys, just remember, Jim's not like talking to every single EDR, MDR,
Right.
XDR vendor out there, so he can't make a blanket statement and say, okay, they're all doing this, but I guess you could talk in some general terms, right?
Right, exactly. And I do, at least I know most of the ones that service the MSP space on the MDR level. Look, there are some that will touch a little bit on, 365. That's pretty much all they'll do. And they just don't go that deep. But again, they're going to be $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 per user per month. That's going to price a lot of your customers out of the equation. Maybe you get 25, 10, 15, 25% penetration of that type of solution in your base. What are you doing for the rest? That's the important thing you need to ask yourself. Just because you get MDR on 25%, that doesn't mean the rest you just forget about. You need to cover them somehow. And again, going back to the triage example, what's most important? What is going to actually compromise a customer first and foremost? It's going to be gaining access to the SaaS application, 365 or Google Workspace.
Well, they're core ones, like, because that's
Yes.
the keys of the kingdom, right? So
100%.
I think, the way I might even look at this is I would say, well, first of all, do we, in whatever you're doing for your customer today, what are you specifically doing to lock down their Microsoft, their SaaS applications? Really specifically, we're looking at Microsoft, we're looking at Google, the core ones. And then ask yourself, is it automated? Like, in other words, like, is there, like you were saying, a daisy chain? Does it require a human being to do it? Because I think, the other thing I heard from your partners is they really like the automated nature of it. It's like, just automatically shuts it down, because timing is important. When an attack is happening, it's happening rapidly. It's not going to sit there, and just sort of linger. They're going to get in, they're going to start doing stuff. So the sooner you shut it down, the better. So I think you got to ask yourself, first of all, do we even have that coverage? Do we have it for 100% of our customers? Is it automated? And then if it is automated and you do have it, then look at the price, then I think, that might be where, if you can cut the costs a little bit, I think that's always a good thing, to lower the cost of anything, because it does go right to your bottom line. So just some things. So, if you're, and even if you do have it, I would say it's always worthwhile to once in a while go and shop another vendor and look at another technology, because sometimes you can get it cheaper, better, faster, because tech does evolve in this industry quite a bit. So, yeah. Okay. So question, Conrad, nonprofits option for them. I guess he's wondering, is there a deeper discount if they're talking to nonprofits, or is it maybe he means nonprofit version of Office 365? I'm not sure I understand the question. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all, so I think because we get this every once in a while, there's a lot of MSPs that work with mostly nonprofits. And is there basically a nonprofit price?
Okay.
I would say 10% of the MSP base that we service today, they predominantly, most of their customers are nonprofit, and we will work with them on a one-off basis.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay,
the other,
all right. So
we'll leave
go
it
ahead.
at that.
Okay. Yeah, get on the demo and beat them up about it. Okay. So then,
exactly.
And then negotiate, guys. Come on, negotiate. Listen to. Did you ever see Chris Voss Never Split the Difference? Chris Voss?
Yeah.
Jim.
Great negotiator.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just texting him earlier. So yeah, if you need to maybe brush up on your Never Split the Difference strategies, my friend Chris Voss, before you get on the call, and then see what you can do. All right, so Andre wants to know, can the free trial be used as a POC or POV, which I think he means proof of concept or proof of value. I think you guys and your acronyms. Okay, so I'm sitting here Googling it. I'm like, what is POC? What the heck? Okay. Can you do that? Is that a good idea, bad idea?
It's 100%. It's a great idea. I'm glad he asked that question, Robin, because we encourage it. When obviously when you set up the trial now, we want you to do that. Put as many customers on as you want. Go out to prospects and say, hey, look, we can show you right now what's going on in your SaaS environment. In addition to that, once you become a partner.
Well, wait a minute. Why wouldn't they? Okay. I was going to say, well, why wouldn't you guys just install it on your own, like on your own company first, and see how it, like, use yourself first?
Yeah,
Jim, no, I might be screwing you up here. Yeah.
No, most do, and that's fine. The problem is most MSPs are pretty locked down, or at least they should be for their own stuff, right? So they're not going to see a ton of stuff coming from it just themselves. We're like, go put it on at least 10 customers, right? and look at their Microsoft security score, see what alerts are coming from some of their applications, set up MSP tools and automated response, and see all that. But one thing that's really important to understand is, let's just say today's the 25th, right? Let's just say, Robin, you signed up with us today as an MSP. Today's your bill date, right? So tomorrow you go out and we're gonna bill you for the number of users that you have on the platform on the 25th of every month, because that's your bill date. So starting tomorrow, the 26th, go out and start prospecting. Put as many prospects on as you want, demonstrate the value to them, and then just make sure they're not signed up as one of your customers. Take them off by the 23rd of the next month, right? Because we're not going to bill you for them. But take advantage of that 28 days where you can actually prospect free with it. We encourage people to do it.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, here's what I'd say. I think we've got all the questions at this point, guys. I think it really would come down to that demo. Just get on the demo. There's that link again up there in the chat. Maybe Karen, there you go. She's so awesome. She's on it. Look at that right there. I didn't even get it out of my mouth like Karen.
She reads your mind, Robin.
Yeah, it's like she's done this before. Yeah, she just doesn't want to hear me talk. It's or get after So okay, so Chris is saying demo booked. I don't know. Can they get like a cool shirt or something too? Like while supplies last. Come on, you got to sweeten the pot. Like something. You got. I don't know.
Okay.
Like a Jim Lippy autographed mug.
So we have a bunch of SaaS Search shirts. This one's a little different, but we have Cover Your SaaS. You've seen it on them before. So anyone that signs up from this actually becomes a customer. We'll give you a t-shirt or a hat. How about that?
Okay.
You're constantly squeezing.
Well, I'll work on you. We got to. That's good. He's gotta get do better than that, man. Give it to them if they book it. How about that? Until you run out, like I don't know. Give it to if they book. Come on. Jim, step up.
Hopefully, we had 125 people register for this, so it's going to go out to all these people, right? Like, Rob, we're still a startup.
Well, but just all right. But until supplies last, you got to learn these terms.
Okay,
Jim,
that's a good point. That's a good point. Until supplies last. There you go.
All right, do something for him. Okay, so Trevor's saying he's booked. Chris is saying he's booked. Wes, great information. So I think people really loved it. Okay, good. Well, check it out, guys. It's definitely one of those things that when I first heard the CDR, and I was kind of like you guys, I'm like, oh man, it's another thing. But I really think this is a little more legitimacy to that than this. And you don't want to get so jaded by all the vendors trying to sell you the thing that you just go, oh, I don't want to listen. And it's the cartoon, where the general's about to go into war and the guy's showing up with a cannon to sell him, and the guy's like, I'm too busy, I got to go to war. So, but I understand it, so anyway, but I just want to let you guys know, like, check it out, because I did talk to a number of MSPs and it seems like they were 100%. Yeah, you got to have this. It's super critical. So, anyway, so Jim, I appreciate your time, and guys, get signed up. Chris said he already talked to Pat Sullivan from Northeast. So they're hitting the phones there. So that's awesome. Yeah, nice. I think it's good. All right.
Robin, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.